Vanessa Sturman is a plant-based health coach and might know a thing or two that we can do. Hi, Vanessa.
Hello.
Why, in your opinion, is it important to protect the environment?
So many reasons. And you know, it's not just about the environment directly around us. It's right across the world. You know, we have so many wonderful species of plants and animals. It gives us the air we breathe. Our life depends on our environment. It gives us clean water that we drink every day. It's very important also to industry and making a lot of the things that we use as well. We simply cannot survive without a healthy planet. And I know there's a lot of animal lovers out there, and we destroy their habitat when we destroy the environment. So it's all of us together, and this is so important for us to think about.
So what are some of the top things you think we can do in order to help protect it then?
Well, some of them are actually more simple than we think. And I do think people sometimes think, well, actually, if something's being destroyed on another part of the world, is that anything to do with me? But one of the things we can all do, and it's something we do 2, 3, 4 times a day, is look at what we're eating. Now, when we eat more plants, we actually could potentially cut even our water footprint in half. So that means the amount of water that's used to produce food, that's really, really important for our land. We're also, by eating more plants and less meat and dairy, we can actually use up a lot less land. It was actually David Attenborough who said last year that if we all ate more of a plant-based diet, now that doesn't mean we have to do fully. That doesn't mean you have to completely give up meat, dairy, fish and eggs, but you ate more plants and less of the animal products, we'd use about a quarter of the land for farming that we currently do. That leaves loads more land for reforestation, for all those wonderful species of plants and animals to live. And this can be really simple. This can be, instead of having a beef bolognese, having a lentil bolognese instead. And those lentils and eating more plants, what's fantastic as well is it can help tackle the global issues we have in health when it comes to obesity, heart disease, blood pressure, type 2 diabetes. So we're actually going to be doing real good for us and our health as well as the health of the planet. So it can be very, very small.
But I guess you've got to balance that out somehow. You know, I was thinking about all the things that I do to try and help the environment, and it's, you know, it's recycling as much as I can. You know, just put my food waste in the appropriate bin because I get that from the council. Garden waste as well, and there probably is one day a week I try to do a meat-free Monday. You know, so it'd be like a stir fry for dinner, or, you know, for whatever I'm having for lunch, thinking, oh, can I do something without meat? But at the same time, you know, our farming industry is facing such pressures. You know, they still got to survive.
Yes, that's right. Farming industries do have to survive. That is very, very important. But the opportunities are really huge in terms of growing plants to feed people as well. And I know there's a lot of experts out there who are helping farms actually convert and transition to help them grow more plants and have less animal products as well. And, you know, industry surviving is very important, and there's more opportunities than we think. But if it's going to destroy our planet in the long term and make our environment worse, pollute our rivers, I mean, even the waste that comes from animals that we use for farming, that goes into our rivers and produces dead zones, for example. So we actually then struggle even more, even if you wanted to use that water for something else, whether that is farming or fishing, we're destroying that anyway. So it is important we make some shifts. And yes, there are people who can help with that kind of shift.
Why did you go plant-based in the first place? What was it, an environmental issue, or was it health? What made you do that?
Yeah, it's an excellent question, and it goes across many, many years. First of all, I learned way before I went plant-based, you know, we're talking 15 years before I went plant-based, I learned about the power of plants. I learned about the power of bulking out your plate with loads more fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds, whole grains, and how that could give you more energy, better gut health, help you maintain a healthy weight. That's an important message, by the way, for people, whether they want to be fully plant-based or not, being plant-forward. And then about 8 or 9 years ago, I understood so much more about the treatment of animals and what we were doing in the farming industry that was happening all around the world. And it can be quite similar in every country, how animals are treated. And I decided that wasn't for me. I wasn't going to be part of that. And then I discovered even more about the health side. I discovered, wow, I really can get full on these plants. Wow, actually plants have an incredible amount of protein. There's protein in all plants.
I was going to say, what about, having meat for your protein? How is being plant-based, do you make sure that you get that in your diet and all the nutrients that you need?
Yes, and it's a good question, and I love talking about this because it is one of the biggest myths when it comes to plant-based eating. This, where do I get my protein from? Now, no one is deficient in protein in the Western world, but what we are deficient in, only about 1 in 10 people is getting enough of it, and that's fiber. And fiber is key for our gut, healthy bowel, keeping us full. It's absolutely fantastic. And these fiber-filled foods are full of all sorts of micronutrients that are essential for our body. So that's where we're mostly deficient. And when it comes to protein, there's actually protein in all plants. Now, that doesn't mean you're going to eat lettuce all day. That is not what we want to do. That is not going to give you all the protein that you need. There are some higher protein plants like our legumes. So that's things like our beans and our lentils and our peas, and things like tofu and tempeh, which our tempeh is made from soy. Tofu is also made from soy. And that's even our edamame beans. So we often eat those in Wagamamas. We can bring those into the house as well and make sure we're putting those in our stir fry. And you've got a lovely high protein meal. So it's very easy once you know. And this does not mean anyone has to go fully plant-based. It's saying, just like you very sensibly said, let's do, meat-free Monday. Instead of having chicken in my stir fry, I can put the edamame beans, the tofu, chickpeas. It's about making these little switches that are tasty, brilliant for our health, and great for our environment.
If there was going to be one small thing that somebody could do, because, all these, if we're all doing even a little small things, it all adds up in trying to do our bit, doesn't it? If there was one small thing, where would you suggest that somebody starts?
Oh, so I think it would be to look at all your soups, stews, casseroles, stir fries, and take the meat that you've got in those and replace them for either beans, lentils, or edamame beans. Now, for lots of reasons, first of all, it's really, really tasty. And we know that something like a chicken curry is tasty because of all the herbs and spices. So put the chickpeas in instead of the chicken. We're going to put the edamame beans or tofu in instead of the chicken to the stir fry, for example. It's really, really tasty. It's all those other herbs and spices that are fantastic. But those beans, lentils, even peas, and the edamame beans, not only do they have brilliant plant protein, but they're also full of fiber, which feeds our good gut bacteria, will keep us fuller for longer. And I think everyone would love to reduce their cravings while helping the environment. And they're cheap. You can get edamame beans frozen, so they're not going to go off. They'll sit in your freezer. Tins of beans and lentils, really, really cost effective. And this is so important while people are quite rightly worried about their wallets during this time. So we can actually help the environment, our health, and save money at the same time.
Vanessa, great to speak to you. Thank you. That was plant-based health coach Vanessa Sturman.